For a while, the Tesla Model Y was the safest car in the world, and no one was arguing. It was so much safer than every other car that had been tested that it simply was just widely accepted, even by people who hate electric cars, as the safest car in the world. But then it was beaten. It was beaten by its big brother, the Tesla Model S. Does that make the Tesla Model Y any less safe? No, it certainly does not. Now, a lot of people might be thinking, electric cars, they're always safe because, they get better safety scores than gasoline-powered cars, and that is true. However, there's been a number of EVs that have received bad safety ratings. For example, the Renault Zoe is considered a 1-star car. According to today's safety ratings, it should not be sold. 1 star. BMW's new EV got a 4-star safety rating. So it's not always actually correct to say that an EV is therefore safer. However, the Tesla Model Y has one key trick up its sleeve for why it's done so well on the safety ratings in both America and in Europe. And this is what it is. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Sam Evans, coming to you from Bangkok in Thailand. Welcome to all the new subscribers and welcome back everyone else. Well, you know what? The electric revolution is here. Even Carlos Tavares, the CEO of Stellantis, who claims that people will be disenfranchised by the billions once the electric revolution really takes hold, has now changed his tune. He's saying it's a good thing and it's here. That is good news. Now, electric cars are definitely safer than gasoline-powered cars, and yes, there are way more gasoline, diesel-powered cars that catch fire every single day. Even as a percentage of cars sold, they are much more likely to catch fire. The media just doesn't report on it because people don't click on those stories anymore. So it's very unlikely for an EV to catch fire. But for an EV to actually be safer than an internal combustion engine-powered car, it does need some certain advantages. Now, the Tesla Model Y, one of the reasons that it scored so well in the safety test was because it's automated safety technology, as in the ADAS systems that it has, work so well. They work better than, pretty much every other car that the American and European safety agencies have ever tested before. And there was a bit of a conspiracy theory going around. The Australian media tried to say that Tesla gamed the tests. They knew it was happening and they had this special way that they gamed the tests. It turned out that was, of course, a clickbait story. They pretended it was this investigative journalism story. It was actually a load of nonsense. Anyhow, the Model Y did incredibly well. In fact, better than any other car tested before with its automated safety systems. And that was a key reason why it was so safe. But one thing that I've mentioned on the channel here many times, and I believe many of you have mentioned it as well, that makes the Tesla Model Y stand out from other vehicles is one of its most interesting features, and something that was once unique to Tesla, but now something that's being copied by other automakers, but only copied by other automakers in China. Automakers outside of China, they don't seem to be interested, but they should be. Now, in the latest video from Tesla, Lars Moravy, Tesla's Vice President of Vehicle Engineering, discussed the safety features that make Tesla cars so safe. And you can see in the video that the single-piece front megacasting in the Tesla Model Y is massive, and it can protect occupants really well in a crash. Sandy Munro, in his video where he broke down and tore apart the Model Y piece by piece, actually shows there's been 3 different iterations of the Model Y. Tesla, when they first made the Model Y, it was okay. But they've now gotten to a point where they've been able to reduce hundreds of parts into 1 or 2 parts, meaning the cars are much more structurally rigid. They're actually lighter as a result, and they can therefore take the forces from a crash much better from these structural gigacastings than other cars can. Moravy talks about some of the measures Tesla took to improve passive safety, starting with the design phase. In case of a crash, Tesla's main priority is protecting the car's occupants, with the second being protecting the battery. The car's progressive crash protection structure plays a crucial role with controlled deformation zones that dissipate the shock before it reaches the cabin. The front megacasting is an important part of this protective system, and so far it's unique to Tesla. There isn't even any Chinese automakers that are actually doing this front megacasting, at least not yet. Moravia is confident that if more cars have been fitted with these structures, more lives could be saved. And if you have a look at some of the recent crazy crashes that Tesla cars have been involved in, not that the Tesla car itself was at fault, but the driver was usually at fault, you can see how their cars are incredibly structurally rigid. For example, you saw the Tesla that drove over the cliff, fell what was about 100 meters or nearly 300 feet down to the ocean below, and incredibly, all 4 occupants in the car were saved. Other people have driven off that cliff. I think it's on the Devil's Slide in California. I rode my bike over it. It was very scary because it was on a crazy wintry day. Apparently others have gone over the top, off the edge, and died. And the rescuers were amazed that the 4 occupants of the Tesla, 2 children and 2 parents, actually survived. Now, I believe the driver of the car admitted later or was found guilty of intentionally driving the car off the cliff and trying to kill his entire family, which is a sad story. And if you want to see that story, I'll put a link in the description below to my video about that. Now, it's interesting how the megacasting is built with thinner ribs at the front than the ones at the back. Now, this helps with progressive deformation. It's something I didn't know about until recently. Tesla also designed multiple load paths for optimal crash protection in collisions with different types of vehicles and objects. The shock is directed toward the crush rail and the subframe, and everything is designed so that the shock pulls the drive unit down and out of the way of the cabin and the battery. Moravia actually shows how these protective structures behaved when the Model Y was tested and crash tested during the NHTSA safety tests. It's visible that the car was totaled and the front was completely crushed, but the body is intact past the A-pillar. In fact, the body past the A-pillar looks like almost nothing has happened. The collision energy was absorbed before reaching the cabin, as expected, so the door could be opened from the inside without a problem. Now, often you'll find, right, when cars are involved in crashes like this, really mild ones that are even half the impact, you can't open the door. That's very common. Very different here. The cabin looks untouched on the inside, except for the airbags, which have set off. That means the occupants have all the room they had before the accident to survive. It means their legs aren't crushed or broken, which is very common with these frontal impacts. Another important characteristic of Tesla's cars, and any electric vehicle, is the very low center of gravity. With the battery installed so low between the wheels, a Tesla is almost impossible to roll over, preventing fatal injuries associated with rollover crashes. Now, one of the advantages, of course, of an EV is having that weight balanced at the bottom of the car. Usually the weight is balanced fairly evenly. Many EVs have almost perfect 50-50 weight distribution between the front and the rear. Plus, that means they don't have a massive engine at the front where the weight is so unbalanced, and those engines can often actually be a big reason why there's significant injuries in high-speed fatal collisions. So here you go. There's some of the reasons that you may or may not have known why the Tesla Model Y is so good at handling crashes. Now, we all thought it was just because of ADAS technology. I think everyone knew about that. But not everyone knows about the different ways that Tesla have actually been able to use gigacasting and structural battery packs in combination to make what was once the world's safest car. Now, in theory, it kind of still is. The Model S is very much a niche product. The Model Y, on the other hand, is currently the best-selling car in Europe this year. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Bye-bye.